Um, I love that. I guess kind of on that topic, since we're already there, what is your stance or your experience with intermittent fasting for women? And I guess it's intermittent fasting is such a complicated topic because it's not just a matter of like physical, it's also psychological. I guess I'll just let you run with it. What's your experience with intermittent fasting for women? I guess with specifically regard to like hormone.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person because there is some so first of all, intermittent fasting, most of the research was done in men. So when we extrapolate, oh, there's all these health benefits and we apply it to women, it's like apples and oranges. It just doesn't compute. For most women, they probably won't do great with intermittent fasting because we're just more sensitive. Our hormones are just more sensitive to, like we talked about, the prolonged calorie deficit. We're just more sensitive to blood sugar swings. For whatever reason, men seem to do a really great job with like skipping breakfast and then, just eating a big meal for lunch and dinner. And like they are totally fine. Women were just a little bit more sensitive. There is a small percentage of women who might be like battling insulin resistance, who might benefit from a very controlled fasting window. But the vast majority of us, especially women that are physically active and not dealing with any sort of insulin resistant, we're going to do better with constant energy intake all throughout the day. And there is evidence that fasting alone can cause women to have anovulatory cycles and can lead to amenorrhea or period loss in some women.
What is it that's going on inside of the body that makes it so like more regular meal timing rather than intermittent fasting is more appropriate or more oftentimes healthier for hormones?
A lot of it has to do with kind of the brain and ovary communication. So there's this axis called the HPO, hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. And that axis in some individuals can be very sensitive to blood sugar levels and in particular the hormone insulin. So one of the reasons why eating more and eating in a surplus works for bringing periods back is because the body needs to sense a certain level of glucose in the blood to have that communication pathway reestablished. So it is knowing that, it is my, guess that even if somebody doesn't totally lose their period, that communication pathway is sensitive to the low energy availability or the prolonged time without food, without carbohydrates.
The hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis, is that
The
right?
HPO axis and like more probably appropriately named the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. So men and
Yeah.
women, that would be like the non, binary name for it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you talk about that. I was just doing some research on alcohol and its effects on health and stuff, and there's something that called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis that alcohol impacts a lot as well. So I guess give me a little bit more. So you're saying that the HPO axis, it's more sensitive to blood sugar levels. So if you're consistently having low blood sugar levels, then that communication pathway becomes less and less active, and therefore your hormone levels.
Yeah, the signaling can become too weak to properly, like when we talk about a menstrual cycle, the signaling, the LH signaling can be too weak to properly grow and develop a follicle to support getting the body to ovulate regularly. And sometimes we see like weak ovulation. So maybe it's a good mature follicle, but the mechanism for creating progesterone is just not there. It's just not strong enough. And so this is where we kind of start to see like low level infertility stuff coming up in active women. Maybe people are getting periods, but they aren't ovulating, or maybe they are ovulating, but their luteal phase, their second half of their cycle is too short and their bodies don't have enough progesterone to support getting pregnant and staying pregnant.
Mm, okay, gotcha.